Welcome to Daily Papers, the podcast where we break down fascinating new research. So here's a question for you. What if your Wi-Fi router could tell if you'd taken your medication?
That sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie. A bit creepy, maybe.
You'd think so, but a new paper from researchers at MIT and Harvard suggests it's closer to reality than we think, and it's designed to solve a huge, invisible problem in healthcare, particularly for one of the most common prescriptions in the world, antidepressants.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the problem they're trying to solve?
It's something called medication non-adherence, basically people not taking their prescribed medication. With antidepressants, the numbers are staggering. The paper points out that roughly half of patients with major depressive disorder stop taking their medication within just 6 months of starting it.
Wow, half? Why is that?
It can be for all sorts of reasons. Maybe they feel better and think they don't need it anymore, or they're experiencing side effects, or sometimes it's just simple forgetfulness. But the consequences can be really serious. It can lead to relapse, hospitalization, and the paper even notes it can heighten the risk of suicide.
So it's critical for doctors to know if their patients are taking their pills. How do they normally check?
That's the tricky part. The current methods aren't great. You can ask the patient, but people often misremember or might feel embarrassed to admit they've stopped. You can count the pills left in the bottle, but that doesn't mean they were actually taken.
What about more high-tech methods, like blood tests?
Those are accurate, but they're also invasive, expensive, and you can't exactly ask a patient to come in for a blood test every single day. So doctors are often flying blind, not knowing if a treatment isn't working because it's the wrong drug or because the patient isn't taking it.
Which brings us back to the Wi-Fi router. How does sleep fit into this?
This is the really ingenious part of the study. The researchers have created an AI model that can detect antidepressant use just by analyzing how a person breathes during a single night of sleep.
From their breathing? How is that even possible?
Well, it turns out that antidepressants have a very distinct effect on our sleep. They change our sleep architecture.
Sleep architecture. You mean the different stages of sleep, like light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep?
Exactly. Many common antidepressants, especially the ones called SSRIs and SNRIs, are known to affect REM sleep, which is our main dreaming stage. They tend to suppress it, or at least delay when it starts. So if you've taken one of these medications, your first REM cycle might happen much later in the night than it normally would.
Okay, so the medication changes your brain, which changes your sleep. But to see that, don't you need an EEG with all those electrodes stuck to your head?
You used to, but nobody wants to wear that to bed every night. So this is where the AI comes in. The researchers used a transformer model, the same kind of powerful AI that's behind things like ChatGPT.
So it's a really smart pattern finder. What pattern is it looking for?
They trained it on thousands of nights of sleep data where they had both breathing patterns and the EEG brainwave data. The AI got so good that it can now look at just the breathing signals from a whole night and accurately reconstruct what the person's brainwaves probably looked like.
That's amazing. It creates a virtual EEG from breathing alone.
Precisely. And once it has that virtual brainwave data, it scans for the telltale signature of an antidepressant, that delayed REM sleep, along with other subtle changes. It then produces a score indicating how likely it is that the person took their medication.
And the data can come from a device that isn't even touching you.
That's the game changer. It works with a simple wearable belt, but it also works with a contactless sensor that sits in the bedroom. It's a small device that sends out radio signals, like a Wi-Fi router, and can detect the tiny movements of your chest as you breathe in and out. It's completely passive and effortless for the patient.
So the big question is, how well does it actually work?
It works incredibly well. They tested it on a massive data set, over 62,000 nights of sleep for more than 20,000 different people. The model achieved a performance score that, in simple terms, means it could correctly distinguish between someone on antidepressants and someone not about 84% of the time. For a medical biomarker, that's considered very good.
Was it fooled by other medications that might make you sleepy, like sleeping pills or anxiety medication?
They tested for that specifically, and no, the model was highly specific. Other drugs didn't create the same unique sleep fingerprint. It was even sensitive to the dosage. The higher the dose of the antidepressant, the stronger the signal the AI detected.
The paper also showed these graphs tracking individual people over several months. You can see the model score shoot up when someone starts taking their medication and then drift down if they stop.
Exactly. It can capture lapses or when someone is tapering off their dose. Imagine you're a clinician. You could get a daily, private report on your patient's adherence. If you see they've missed 3 days in a row, you could give them a call and just ask, "Hey, is everything okay? Are you having trouble with side effects?"
So it's not about spying on patients. It's about giving doctors a tool to intervene early before a missed dose becomes a major health crisis.
That is the entire point. It creates an objective, effortless biomarker, a biological signal for medication adherence. This could allow for much more proactive and personalized care, helping doctors support their patients in real time.
All from a technology that just listens to the quiet rhythm of our breathing while we sleep. It's a fascinating look at the future of digital health.